I'm Chris Fletcher with Fletcher, Rohrbaugh Chahine, and let's talk a little bit about Chapter 13 bankruptcy. A Chapter 13 bankruptcy differs from a Chapter 7 in a few ways. Chapter 13 is not a liquidation, it is a reorganization of your debt. What happens in a Chapter 13 is I take a look at your income and I take a look at your expenses, and assuming that there is some income left over at the end of the month after your necessary living expenses, that is the amount of money that I would have to work with to put into a plan. Plans will range from 3 to 5 years in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, and what you're doing is you're just making your disposable income paid into a bankruptcy trustee each month during the life of the bankruptcy, and that trustee will distribute those funds to the creditors on a pro rata basis. A pro rata basis is, I'll give you an example. An example would be if you owe one creditor $10,000 and another creditor $5,000, then the payments those creditors would receive is based on the amount of money you owe them. So using round numbers, out of $150 in this example, $100 would go to the creditor you owe $10,000 to, and $50 would go to the creditor that you owe $5,000 to. So percentage-wise, they're reducing the debt at the same amount at the same time. With a Chapter 13, you have to be pretty certain that you have very stable income because you are locked into a payment plan for a number of years. So there's a segment of the population that has seasonal work. Chapter 13 may not be a good option for those folks, but there's also a segment of the population that has a solid job that is that's going to be steady pay, that you know you're going to have for a long period of time, and those folks may be good candidates for a Chapter 13, based on that reason. But a Chapter 13 operates from a procedural standpoint relatively similar to a Chapter 7. I go through a questionnaire process with my client so I can obtain accurate information. We draft the petition. We draft the repayment plan based on the disposable income. There is pre and post file counseling that is required in a bankruptcy. I generally, unless my clients do it on their own, I will always notify them that these items need to be taken care of. Once the bankruptcy is signed, there is a creditors meeting in a Chapter 13 that would occur roughly a month after filing, and there may also be a confirmation, plan confirmation hearing to determine whether the court will accept the plan. A typical Chapter 13 bankruptcy will take 3 to 5 years to complete because there are a number of payments that have to be made over the life of the bankruptcy. Your typical minimum is 36 months, your max is 60, so that's where you have your parameters of 3 and 5 years. Over the years, I have filed hundreds of bankruptcies. We have an extremely high success rate from start to finish. If you default on a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, then ultimately you will wind up back in court, and either a modification will have to be made, you'll have to catch up on the payments, or the case could simply be dismissed. In a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, there are some payment options. You can pay for the bankruptcy in advance, but you can also structure your payments through the plan where I would be paid off over a period of time, very similarly to your creditors. If you have additional questions or need additional information, feel free to check out our free resources tab on the website. In the alternative, I'm happy to receive any calls or emails with questions, and I would always be happy to sit down to consult.